You're listening to the Catholic Lunch Break, where we catch up on everything Catholic in Houston. My name is Tim Mott, and it's the 16th week in Ordinary Time, July 24th. Thank you so much for joining us. When we catch up on everything Catholic in Houston, we talk about, what's been going on in our archdiocese, what's coming up this week. We talk about all kinds of stuff, programs, events, ministries, parish of the week, and of course, Catholic Radio here. We are here to connect you to your faith, connect you to the rest of the Catholic community around Houston. And we have a great show lined up for you today. Carol, our volunteer, is not in today to update us on her pilgrimage, but I do have Taylor Van Nest running the board. Taylor, did you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend.
Excellent. It was very hot out there. I assume you took advantage of some air conditioning?
Yeah, I went to a concert that was inside.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I went to a concert on Thursday. That was lots of fun too. And we're going to be talking with Julie Dumoulin from the Pro-Life Office of the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston, about a foster care program that has probably the best name for a foster care program, the St. Joseph Foster Care Program, of course. We're going to learn all about that and why now, and what parishes can do about it here on the Catholic Lunch Break. Also, Paul Stasel, the cybersecurity expert working at St. Teresa's in Sugar Land, is going to be helping you really protect your family online. And this is very important stuff. It's issues that you may have wondered about and not known what to do. Well, I think Paul's going to have some answers for you if you'll keep listening. Plus, we'll do our loving choice check-in with the nurse sonographer this time, talking about ultrasounds. That's going to be fun. Let's go ahead and start with our prayer like we always do. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thine intercession was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, I fly into thee, O Virgin of Virgins, my mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Okay, well, we are catching up on everything Catholic in Houston. My name is Tim Mott. I'm the general manager of this radio station, part of the Guadalupe Radio Network. And one of the things that's been happening, we've talked about a few times, is Cafe Catholica. Cafe Catholica, the young adult speaker series that the Archdiocese puts on every summer. This year, it's been particularly good. We started off with Cardinal DiNardo just a couple weeks ago. And last Monday, Wyatt Goolsby, our executive director, who is still a young adult for at least 3 more years, he went and heard of, who was the speaker last week, Wyatt?
Last week they welcomed Brian Butler, who is a national speaker and he's an author. He's written extensively about theology of the body.
Brian Butler, okay. Oh, well, so it's much more than just a speaker series. They also have mass confession, dinner, fellowship, vendors, all kinds of stuff. So what was the environment like?
That's right, Tim. There's lots of people. Last week, probably had roughly close to 400 young adults there. And basically what it is they have, like you mentioned, this is speaker events that go on once every Monday for this Cafe Catholica program. And as we mentioned, they welcome speakers from all over. And basically from about 5:15 to about 9:15 at night, they have all sorts of things going on: confession, mass, a dinner, and then finally the speaker to round out the evening. So we talked about Brian Butler last time, and he was great. He ended up talking about a whole range of issues regarding chastity, and he talked about dating, especially something very important for young adults in this day and age, of course. But just in terms of being a Catholic in all forms and facets, being able to participate in the life of the church through the sacraments and regular prayer life. So messages like that are really important.
Ah, very cool. Okay, and so tonight is actually going to be, I'm looking at the calendar, Paul George talking about discernment. Are you going to be there tonight too?
I will, yeah. So all of this is going on at St. Ian's, which is in the Upper Kirby, River Oaks area. They're close to Kirby and Westheimer, who's hosting it. So Paul George, not to be mistaken with the Paul George, the basketball player, but
right.
Paul George, who is going to be speaking about discernment. So he's going to be citing Mary and the saints about how you can make decisions in your life.
Yeah, discernment's not just about being a priest. It's about following God every day.
Absolutely. And so
Absolutely.
whatever vocation that might be in your life.
Well, I hope that some of our listeners will maybe recognize your voice as you're having conversations. They'll come up, "Hey, you're Wyatt Goolsby." I mean, they could see you there. So I mean, you're not not much of a private guy, really. You'll shake hands with anybody who comes up from our audience, right?
Absolutely. And, I'm happy to be there just to enjoy it as a civilian, if you will. But the first week that I went, I actually had a promo table to support Guadalupe Radio and just shake people's hands and let them know about our media ministry as well. So I'm happy to always just hang out and chat with people.
Well,
That's
maybe,
why I enjoy it.
Maybe I can give you a few bumper stickers to keep in your pocket.
Sure.
But thank you, Wyatt, for joining us and telling us about Cafe Catholica. If you want to learn more about it, go to cafecatholica.com or just show up at St. Anne's tonight anytime between 5 and 9. Okay, thank you, Wyatt. And I also want to talk about the Concert for Life that happened last week. That was a lot of fun. The Concert for Life put on by Father David Michael Moses. He's been doing this, I guess, about 10 years now. He started off as Deacon David Michael Moses doing the Concert for Life. And the backing band was all priests. It was all priests, and they were there just doing a great, fun concert, all original music, except for one piece that they did with the singers from the seminary, the priests from the seminary. They came and they did the Magnificat in Latin at this rock concert. It was incredible. They did a whole chant break right in the middle, and that's how you know you are at a Catholic event. When there's a Latin chant in the middle of the rock concert, then it's really Catholic. But I had a great time. I saw a lot of our listeners there, a lot of Catholic bumper stickers in the parking lot. It was Catholic radio bumper stickers in the parking lot. It was a really fun time. So if you went to the Concert for Life, post about that in our Facebook group, GRN Houston. Would love to see your pictures there. Also, last week we had a great prayer breakfast. Wyatt, you were there for the prayer breakfast too. This one was different than most of ours. We typically have our networking prayer breakfast at Mexican restaurants. This one was at Holy Name Retreat Center,
Which is a really nice retreat center, Holy Name Passionist Retreat Center.
Yeah.
And Father Nicholas, who's the priest there, was very welcoming to us.
very welcoming, very dramatic with his prayers. He's a very he's
He's a powerful speaker.
He's a
is what I'd say.
playwright too. Like, so he's got this sense of drama when he talks, and so he's got this big booming voice and he says, "Oh God, our Father, as we come to you this morning." And
Oh, yeah,
something
you
like that.
definitely
Yes.
pay attention when he's
Yeah.
praying.
Yeah.
Which is what we were definitely doing.
Well, I
So-
mean, they also had, it was very formal setup too, in their dining hall there. They put out place settings and everything, and
That's true, because usually when we do our prayer breakfast, we're usually opening up at these restaurants
yeah, it's pretty
very early
pretty
in the morning.
buffet style, and
But of course, this retreat center, they're so used to welcoming large amounts of people. In this case, several dozen that we had.
I think maybe we
it was
can
very
go
nice.
back there. That would be really, really
It was a
cool
real
to be
treat.
able to go back. So
Holy Name's a real treat.
big shout out, big thank you to Deacon James Anderson and Father Nicholas Devine at Holy, and Mickey, thank you so much for your help to put that together at Holy Name Retreat Center. You can visit Holy Name Retreat Center. They have open grounds just for showing up and praying. You could go pray in their chapel sometime. You don't have to be there on a formal retreat. And it's a little oasis, kind of in the heart of Houston, on Bunker Hill, kind of in the Memorial area. But I wanted to say thank you to them. And if you would like to get information about future prayer breakfast, maybe you could come and join us yourself for one of these. It's a great chance to meet people and get inspired before you start your day. Sign up for our email list at grnonline.com. grnonline.com. That's the best way to get updates about the prayer breakfast schedule and to stay in touch with me and Wyatt and Taylor and everybody here, because you could just reply to any of those emails. Comes right to me and get us a personal message. We are accessible as a radio station. So we talked about Cafe Catholica tonight. There is a little more somber news. Some of you may know Father Roy Ogiero. I never personally got to meet him, but he died, I believe, last Thursday. And his funeral is going to be tomorrow, also at St. Anne's as well on Westheimer. So if you knew Father Roy Ogiero or admired him, then you may want to show up for the funeral. I believe the viewing is at 6. Oh, no. Viewing at 6 and Mass at 7 p.m. That is what I heard. I would like to go now to our Loving Choice check-in. Loving Choice is the only Catholic pregnancy help center in the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston. And our guest today is volunteer nurse sonographer Wanda Cochran. Wanda, welcome to the Catholic Lunch Break.
Hi, how are y'all today?
Yeah, we're doing really well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So you are the one who actually performs the ultrasounds at Loving Choice. So when a client comes in and they are in a pregnancy, they get the pre-pregnancy test and it comes back positive, and or maybe they're a little bit further along, and they need an ultrasound. You do that for free. How did you get into this?
Well, honestly, it was a call from God, and as He works wonders in everybody's life, I was a retired nurse practitioner and wondering what I was going to do for the rest of my career, and I wanted to continue doing something, not in a paid environment. And fortunately, I had the opportunity to volunteer at another pregnancy center. And at that time, they asked me if I would like to be trained to do ultrasounds. And I said, absolutely. And it was 5 years ago, and it's been a beautiful journey. And I've loved every minute of it. And every day I'm excited to walk into the center and to see what graces God has for me.
Oh, that's
Here
wonderful.
at the
So
center.
you actually learned to do the ultrasounds after you retired and started volunteering for pro-life organizations. So how was the training process for that? Was it difficult to pick up, or was it easy with your nursing experience?
Well, it's a new way of it's like learning a language. I
Okay.
mean, only it's more of a visual language that you build over time. I was trained at that time by an RDMS, so it is. I am trained to do limited ultrasounds, obstetrical ultrasounds, and it's attached to my nursing license. So that's
Mm.
kind of the background to that. So I am not licensed as an RDMS, but I am trained to do that and can do that by because of my nursing license. So we do have at the center two other nurses that are being well, one is already trained and one is being trained by the same RDMS that taught me 5 years ago. So every year she comes back and reassesses our skills, and we have in services once a month to kind of keep our skills sharp and certainly to refine our skills.
Okay, that's awesome. Are you looking for more sonographers to come in and put in some hours? Because I mean, clearly you can't do it all
Absolutely.
yourself. I mean, how many ultrasounds do you do like a month?
In a month's time, oh goodness, I don't know exactly how many we do, but I would say in the ballpark of about 30 to 40. And honestly, we are a very young center, as you're very aware of,
Yeah.
and it has grown exponentially. At the board meeting that I was speaking at last month, I think the increase is 69% increase from last year to this year in ultrasound. So that just kind of shows you how we're growing. So absolutely. I would love, RDMS to come and volunteer here, but certainly if you're a nurse and you're passionate about sharing that with your clients, I think it's a beautiful opportunity.
I'm sure the right people already know, but what does RDMS stand for?
Well, it's a registered ultrasound. So it's like a nursing license, only it's for an ultrasound person.
Gotcha.
So
And we
they have to
probably
go
have a
through
few of
that.
those listening, and they were like, "Yo, come on, Tim, you know this."
Absolutely. And we would love to have them. So if they're passionate about their faith and about what they do, then we would love to have you.
Okay, yeah, loving-choice.org is the website, but I want to hear kind of what the client experience is from your perspective as the nurse. So you're doing the ultrasound that you've been trained to do. You're seeing the baby, the heartbeat and everything, and then what is the typical reaction that the client has, that the mom has?
Most moms are just overjoyed. It brings tears to their eyes, but also the beauty of what we do here is we're able to invite in the significant other and family members and children. So for me personally, it's not only the response from the mom, but it's from everybody that happens to be here, especially the young children. They get so excited to see the little heartbeat. And then I have many bottles in my room so I can kind of explain what's going on in mama's tummy. So it's I really try to make this a very unique experience for the whole family. And I love to have as many people in my room as possible.
No, that's fun. That's actually lots of fun. Make it a group experience there. Wanda, we're coming short on our time here, but is there anything on your heart that you want the listeners to know? Like maybe something that people, common misconception people have?
Through ultrasound within the mom's body, so that it becomes more real to them. It's not a sterile environment. It's a sharing environment where we bring God in. We let them know that they are loved. And we hope that we foster a relationship with them in the future as they progress in their pregnancy.
That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for your service, Wanda, for donating your talents to the only Catholic pregnancy help center in the Houston area, Loving Choice. And loving-choice.org is the website if people want to go and find the contact information, maybe look you up, maybe come and visit you and say, I can testify, Wanda is a fun person to talk to. So if you come and visit Loving Choice, Wanda, I'm sure would love to meet you as well.
I would love to.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you again very much for joining us here on the Catholic Lunch Break.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
take care. So that was Wanda Cochran for Loving Choice, loving-choice.org. And just a couple other things coming up this week. There's an iconography class going on at St. Teresa's in Sugar Land right now. My daughter's participating in that. That's really fun. It's too late for you to sign up. I just wanted to brag on her because she's a great artist. St. Teresa also has a garage sale coming up this Thursday through Saturday. The Catholic Daughters of St. Teresa Court there and Sugar Land. This is a big garage sale that they do. It's a fundraiser for their chapter for the church, but also it's a great place to get furniture, great place to get clothes, great place to get Christmas decorations. I've browsed through their mini and here's some wonderful original music that is going to be inspiring to your faith for sure. This Thursday, July 27th, 7:30 p.m., Cullen Hall at the University of St. Thomas. I believe it is free. I don't even think you need tickets in advance. And the Chant School, St. Basil's Chant School, is also happening this Thursday through Saturday at the seminary. I believe it's also too late to register for that, but there is a social event that is open and free. I think it's free, but you can register for that as well. I believe it's happening on Saturday. Just Google St. Basil's Chant School and or call the seminary, and they'd love to connect with you there. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking with Paul Stasel about cybersecurity and your family, how to protect yourself, your kids, and your domestic church online. You're listening to the Catholic Lunch Break, where we catch up on everything Catholic in Houston. We'll be back right after this. Southeast Houston Cardiology is a proud sponsor of this Guadalupe Radio Network station and The Doctor is In with Dr. Ray Garendi. Southeast Houston Cardiology has been serving patients with heart disease and vascular disease with up-to-date, compassionate, and comprehensive care for more than 20 years. Southeast Houston Cardiology has 2 locations, Webster and Pasadena. You can contact them online at southeasthoustoncardiology.com or 281-338-4004.
Hello, this is Wyatt Goolsby, Executive Director of KSHJ. I'd like to invite you to attend the 10th Annual Fishers of Med Benefit Dinner this fall on October the 10th. This year, the event will be held at the Lakeside Country Club, which is just off of I-10 and Beltway 8. Our keynote speaker is His
To the Spirit World with Debbie Georgiani and Adam Bly.
Demonic activity appears to be on the rise. I'm Debbie Georgiani, and I invite you to join Adam Bly and me this weekend for the Spirit World.
On the Spirit World, we offer a Catholic perspective on angels, demons, and how the spiritual and physical worlds interact.
Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern on the Guadalupe Radio Network and other EWTN radio affiliates. Visit grnonline.com/Spirit World.
You're listening to the Catholic Lunch Break, where we catch up on everything Catholic in Houston. Remember our website, grnonline.com. If you have any questions about what you hear on the show, email me. Go to grnonline.com. I'd like to welcome to the program now Paul Stasel, who is a computer cybersecurity consultant. As Paul, you have even done work here at KSHJ in the past year. I believe you're the one who installed our printer 10 years ago.
It's very well possible that I did that.
It's still running.
When this studio started, I was called upon several times to come and help out.
Yeah, I thank you very much for that. It was actually before they hired me on. You knew Joe McLean, previous general manager. Where are you working now? What's your main gig?
For the past 16 years, I've worked at St. Teresa's. I'm the director, St. Teresa's in Sugar Land. I'm the director of the First Sacraments, the elementary, middle school program there, as well as the children's catechumenate. So I do have my hands full, but also full time for the past 20 years. I've been doing full service IT. And I would say for the past 12 years, I've had a huge focus on cybersecurity.
That makes a lot of sense. It's cybersecurity right now, and things change so fast. Even if you are young and you don't remember the 90s when the internet was just becoming a thing, things are still changing very quickly. And the big thing right now, AI, it's got everyone on edge. I don't know if you have any things to say about AI, but what is social engineering, and actually how does that relate to all this change in technology?
By the way, happy to come back at another time. We'll talk about AI, because that would be a show all by itself.
Yes.
But yeah, social engineering it's manipulation in its best description. We can't even drive down a road without seeing billboards or other cars, things that tend to have an influence on us. And of course, these are things typically of the world. So social engineering is about a person or an entity or organization that is wanting to manipulate an individual or a group of individuals to do certain things. And we see this prevalent throughout our history, even before all this technology came about.
That's the basic principle of advertising.
It sure is. And so there's social engineering, which is fairly innocuous and to be expected, but I focus on the stuff that is more insidious, that seems to be this magic box in the house that parents have called the internet, the Wi-Fi, whatever. It's been called many things. And this is what is getting into our families and manipulating our children. We have predators, we have bad information, human trafficking. There are all kinds of dangers out there. And families need to really act now to help improve their internet posture or their security posture. It might be aggression or what have you. So
right.
The real crux of the matter here is that we have to get a handle on our social media so that particularly our youth are not so deadened to the world that they think this is the only world they can live in.
Yeah.
And as a result, they are more depressed, which also increases suicide rates and tendencies and so on.
I think it's fairly common knowledge, at least in circles that I run in, that social media has a lot of it's designed to grab hold and keep your attention so that you become the packaged product for other advertisers. But there's more to it than just that, and people that know that don't necessarily know what to do about it to keep social media from running their lives. Maybe just unplugging entirely is like what we resort to. But what would you say are some of the common threats that are getting past parents as they try to keep their kids safe online and teach good social media usage?
Well, I think that what we really dropped the ball is 20 plus years ago, we did not think about teaching digital literacy and digital citizenship. And this is how we're supposed to behave online and the appropriate places to go online. And in so doing, we also lost the opportunity as parents to build a trust relationship with our children. Because if we don't have that trust relationship, it doesn't matter how many apps that you try to install to do parental controls and all, or if, like you say, just unplug things completely. If we don't have that trust relationship, they're just going to go find a way somewhere else. And I think the moral they don't know about is the platform that they're on that they're keeping from you. Again, so if you don't have that trust relationship, then it doesn't matter what they're on. They could just be text messaging on their phone. It doesn't even have to be an app or platform. If they are finding ways to communicate to the outside world where you don't have that awareness, then you're also not you're not able to help. So you can't control, you can't counsel, you can't do things. If kids have a medical problem of some kind. They're really scared. They don't want to talk to their parents, so they go to the internet about it. They get bad information. They're diagnosing themselves. These are all things that contribute to that depression rate that we were speaking about.
Yeah, yeah. Building the trust with your kids so that they come to you when they have questions, when they have concerns, when they may be feeling guilty. I mean, that's the tricky part for a lot of parents, but that is the goal. It's not just to avoid them seeing things. It is for them to come to you and you to guide them as parent. And if you want resources on that, we've got a couple radio programs on our station that address that specifically. Greg and Lisa Popchak with More to Life, 9 a.m. every morning. Dr. Ray Garendi heard in the noon hour every day except this one. So you've got resources here. If you just keep listening Catholic radio, call into these shows, ask them, how do I build trust with my kids? But Paul, how do you suggest that parents build trust with their kids?
Well, obviously, it's a lot easier at the age of 6 than 16, but I would say it's never too late.
Right.
If you think,
You gotta
well, I
start,
really dropped
yeah.
the ball, you got to do something. It is worth the struggle, every bit of it. So we have to realize that we have two forms of authority. We have the direct, if we're trying to hide things like pornography or other activity that we would not want our children to be exposed to. They will find out. There's no really good way of hiding things like that when you're living under the same roof. So having moral authority is really the most important thing, because that will extend to the children beyond the grave. So even when I'm dead and gone, I hope my children will always remember that I always acted a certain way and I wanted that for them. In a more practical sense, though, if you're trying to learn about how your home internet works, that's actually a pretty easy thing to do. I teach that in a class. I have 3 classes in total that I teach. I've got the Tech Savvy, Tech Safe that I talk to teens about, high school. Then I have a class called Guarding the Garden, and I'll come talk to your parish. I'll come talk to your school. It doesn't have to be Catholic. I will talk to anybody because I want to raise this kind of awareness. But we as spiritual leaders of the family, and I say we, I mean the fathers, the men, right? We have to take that direct role in protecting our domestic church. Eve gets the bad rap for having committed the first sin, but Adam should have been guarding the garden. He had that militant spiritual role to begin with. If he had been doing his job, then the serpent wouldn't have been allowed to enter to tempt Eve in the first place. So we have to do that as well with our home internet. When you have a child that's in elementary to middle school, using apps and certain app control devices like OpenDNS or Cloudflare, Covenant Eyes, Bark, these are good products to use that add a layer of security and accountability. Yeah. But realizing that by the time they're in high school,
the major threats that parents are not aware of right now, or the dangers that children can fall into?
Well, here in Houston, we live in the #1 human trafficking capital on planet Earth. I-10 corridor connects Houston to California, which is the #2 state. And so human trafficking is not an over there problem, it's a here problem. So predatory behavior in all its senses is something that we have to be well aware of. And like I said, the social engineering, which pornography is another element of social engineering. It teaches sexuality in the wrong way. It goes against all the appropriate expectations of what that is. But there's also the cyberbullying. There's identity theft. I mean, there are just the whole gamut out there. When you said technology and things are changing quickly, you're right. The technology does change quickly, but it's the same old song. 40 years ago when you didn't have the internet, you just put an ad in a magazine and invite people to come to this gym, and then you were like a talent scout, and then you would get these teenage girls that you would have supposedly audition for something, and the next thing they're on a bus going nowhere, and they're in the human trafficking circle. So technology is just an easier way to get there. These people look for teens that are disconnected, particularly ones that are not going to have that trust relationship, of course, with their parents, broken homes and such. So that's where we have to look at continuously being engaged with our children and everything that they're doing. Yeah. There's a difference between protecting and sheltering. And I want to draw that little nuance there, because St. Teresa's Catholic School, they're rolling out a program this year called Wait Through 8th. And it's the long of the short. But you can Google this, okay? But the long of the short is that I think one of my first flip phones for my children was when my oldest daughter was babysitting, and she was at a house. They took the phone with her. There was no landline phone there, so I had to give her a flip phone. But it was a prepaid phone. It was a dumb phone. These days, it's kind of nice to have GPS tracking and things like that. I mean, most of my children are adults now, so I like to see that they're all home, because you never stop worrying about your kids. But the appropriate levels of tools that should be rolled out to children, from, let's just say, pre-K through the 8th grade, that should be something very slowly. I mean, a Kindle Fire has great parental controls. But never should they be given any form of technology that would be taken to the bedroom, the bathroom. It also has to be something that is centrally managed and located. I had mentioned using services like OpenDNS. So if you go to opendns.org, they have a great step-by-step way for you to configure your router for free, so that it would be filtered from probably 98% of all the bad stuff on the internet that you wouldn't want them accidentally getting to. But there's more to it than just that. So that's why I would recommend that if you want to learn more, you could reach out to me, Paul at sugarlandcatholic.com. And again, I'm happy to come talk it to your parish to get more into the details.
You just anticipated the end of my questions right there. Was, what do parents do? So we're going to suggest the first place that people should look when you're doing a cybersecurity inventory. What is the vulnerable point that's most common?
So that's a really good question, because with something like Advanced IP Scanner, you'd be able to, that's the first step, is to at least see what's on your network. And then more telling than that is what you don't see on that list. So for instance, you might have a teenager with a burner phone connected to a data network or connected to their neighbor's network. You probably want to investigate why they're not on your network.
Right,
okay?
right.
So you have to at least see, what is connected to your network. And then, again, you want to go into the router itself and learn how to control your DNS so that your websites are filtered appropriately.
Gotcha. And if you're feeling like you don't even know where to start, and Paul's just giving you a whole bunch of stuff here, you can reach out to him, Paul at sugarlandcatholic.com, and ask for maybe slow it down. And we'll take you back to the square one.
I do talk quickly,
yes.
so
we'll
short
take
period of time, a lot of information.
Exactly. That's how it works with live radio. And I know we've come to the end of our time, Paul Stasel, but thank you so much for joining us to talk about cybersecurity, keeping us safe online, and for everything that you do here in Houston and Sugar Land, and for the Catholic Church. I admire your commitment to your family, your commitment to the church, and your faith, man. So hopefully we can talk with you again in the future. Would that be okay?
Be happy to come back. Thanks a lot, Tim.
Paul Stasel, Paul at sugarlandcatholic.com. We're going to take a quick break here on the Catholic Lunch Break, and when we come back, we'll be talking with Julie Dumoulin from the Office of Pro-Life Activities here in the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston, the St. Joseph Foster Care Program. I bet that's probably connected to human trafficking as well. So keep listening here on the Catholic Lunch Break here on AM 1430, part of the Guadalupe Radio Network.
Do you believe in miracles? Fullness of Truth invites you to explore the miraculous at their 17th.
Will make our community and our world a better place, just like this Guadalupe Radio Network station. You can contact me at trwfamily.com. God bless.
Hello, this is Wyatt Goolsby, Executive Director of KSHJ. I'd like to invite you to attend the 10th Annual Fishers of Med Benefit Dinner this fall on October the 10th. This year, the event will be held at the Lakeside Country Club, which is just off of I-10 and Beltway 8. Our keynote speaker is His Excellency, Bishop Stephen Lopes. KSHJ will be awarding this year's Fishers of Men Award to Kathy McCann, founder of the Gabriel Project. For tickets and tables, please visit our website at grnonline.com.
This is the Catholic Lunch Break in the 16th week of Ordinary Time. We're catching up on everything Catholic in Houston. Just had a great conversation with Paul Stasel about cybersecurity, and I want to talk now with Julie Dumoulin, who is the director of the Office of Pro-Life Activities of the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston. There is a new program, Julie, that is happening right now, the St. Joseph Foster Care Program.
Yes. Hi, Tim. Thank you. It's good to be back. So yes, the St. Joseph Ministry, very excited about this. It's something that's been a long time coming, and now with the Dobbs decision in the summer of last year, it's really a perfect time to get it started.
Okay, so the St. Joseph Foster Care Program, I love the name of it. Taylor, can we check on the microphone, make sure that we got mic 3 there? The St. Joseph is like the perfect name for a foster care program because St. Joseph was the foster.
But what we're really trying to do with any kind of pro-life, which has always been about human dignity fundamentally, is how can we grow and expand what we've already been doing, which we've been doing a wonderful job over the last 50 years, since Roe and before, of reaching out to pregnant women, reaching out to women with infants. And there's a recognition, okay, now we can really build on what we've been doing before. And so when you were speaking with Wanda from Loving Choice, and she talked about, well, we're seeing all these women after Dobbs who are wanting to come in for ultrasounds and wanting to come in for pregnancy help. So those children are going to be born and grow, which is wonderful, but we know that their families may need some additional help, and we want to be there to provide that.
Exactly, and just because they're choosing life, which is the right choice, that doesn't make all of the other circumstances that made it a crisis pregnancy go away.
Exactly.
It's still going to be difficult.
It's still a challenge.
Yeah.
It's still a challenge.
So what does the St. Joseph Foster Care Program do? So how does it work?
Yeah, so we're fortunate in the Archdiocese to be working with a local 501c3, and I want to give them props because they've been absolutely wonderful. This is the Riverside Project, and you can go on their website, but they are a local 501c3 that their main effort, they're the subject matter experts, if you will. So they really work with all sorts of church groups and nonprofit groups to try to connect people that want to help family them. And hey, we've got a new program for you to start. You know, they're kind of
we have enough programs.
Panic. We don't need another program.
Yeah.
What's great about St. Joseph, though, is it really can incorporate a lot of existing programs into helping. So, for example, you may have foster families in your parish that need a meal every now and again, and you may have a bereavement ministry that they provide meals to families after the death of a loved one. Well, would they be willing to, a few times a month, also provide meals for foster families in the parish, just to take some of that?
So it's kind of like
additional burden,
taking the foster care people and putting it on the radar of the ministries that are already doing that work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And similarly, St. Vincent de Paul, there's a lot of work that they do. Might they also be, if a call goes out from a social worker, there's been a kinship placement with a family in the parish, and they need 2 twin mattresses and clothes for a 3-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy. Can we help meet that need? And so, generally speaking, a St. Vincent de Paul can kind of pivot to do that. It's not about, hey, everybody in the church should be a foster parent. That's wonderful if we get some of those. But the idea really is, let's engage on a slightly less extreme level, if you will.
Right.
A smaller level, it's nobody can do everything, everybody can do something.
Yeah.
Is what a married couple with, or somebody that has a lot of extra financial resources or whatever. Young adults can be certified to provide babysitting for foster families.
Oh my gosh.
On the weekend.
What a blessing.
What
a blessing there. Yes.
And you do have to be certified to do that, because with a foster child, you can't just leave that child with your next door neighbor. There's requirements. But if you are certified to do that, that can really be taking some pressure off that foster parent.
And these are the little changes that are going to make a bigger difference in the lives of those kids, in the lives of those parents, and in the lives of everyone that they touch after that.
Absolutely. And I do just want to mention a couple of things that, and this is kind of the big level of engagement. This is your maybe 2-3 years down the road. But what a lot of people have a real heart for is, we want to go when there's a group home with teenagers. Oftentimes, those are kids that there's been a severing of the parental rights. Mm-hmm. They're old enough that they're probably not going to be adopted. Right. And so they're going to be in some kind of group setting until they age out of the system. And so these are kids that really don't have the mentoring that a lot of us took for granted, that we were blessed to have. So parishes can do things like, you have a basketball team in your youth group, go once a month and play basketball with those kids.
Yeah.
Go and do that. Or, have a couple of young adults go and hang out with those kids.
It's like having an office manager for adults.
Wanda had mentioned with Loving Choice, so many more women coming in for ultrasounds and services. And we're certainly seeing that with Gabriel Project.
Mm-hmm.
I think since in the past 2 years, we're up about 100%.
Wow.
In terms of the number of women. I think in 2021 we served 900 women. This year we're on track to serve well over 2,000.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. And so, and many of those women are immigrants, which we know that,
Mm-hmm.
Raises its own set of challenges. And so, it's really a way, I like the idea of building on what's come before
Mm-hmm.
and continuing to expand our services.
Gotcha. And so if people wanted to get involved with this aspect of it, like if the St. Joseph Ministry itself, like who is that? Is that you and your staff, or is that like a bunch of volunteers, or? Yeah.
Yeah. So we're really lucky right now. We are collaborating closely with the Riverside Project.
Right.
So our connection with that agency is a guy named Chandler James, who wasn't able to be here today, wanted to be, but they would just first call me. And what we've done, because as I mentioned, there's different needs in different parts of the Archdiocese. We're a huge Archdiocese. We've divided the Archdiocese into 4 separate regions.
Just 4. Those are still big.
Just 4. Those are still big, yes. But the idea is if we start with 5 parishes in the north, so we've got someone in the Woodlands, someone in Spring, someone in Huntsville,
Mm-hmm.
each of them can work together.
And you can see a light bulb come on, like, I know the perfect person for this.
Yes.
I love that moment when the
Yes.
pastor says, like, oh, yes, I know who would be able to do this.
I know
So,
who's going to be voluntold for that. But,
of course, there's that too.
but the beautiful thing about this, people have been, there's so much energy around this
Mm-hmm.
because it's looking at the pro-life lens, looking at it in a different way.
Yeah.
And, as I mentioned after Dobbs, we know, and I still get calls from women in Texas who say, I went out of state and I had an abortion and I regret it and I need, so we know that's still a reality for Texas women. But there are many, many more women, as we see just by the numbers, who are parenting, who are choosing to parent, but they're going to need a little extra help.
Yeah, I've seen this subtle shift even in just the little bit of attention I've been able to give to it. Even at the Concert for Life last week, there was talk about saving babies, and that's great, and I'm love that's still there. But there was so much talk about helping moms.
Yes.
So much more talk about helping moms than when I was growing up. We did the walk for, or the life chain, and it was all about save babies, save babies, save babies.
Correct.
And yeah, we do want to save the babies, but we save babies by helping moms.
Well, we want to do all of the above.
Yes.
We want to do all of the above. And there's such a Monsignor Bill Young, St. Vincent de Paul, shout out to him. Yes. Always talks about how, parenthood is not presented as a positive thing to our young people.
I know why.
Not at all.
I love it.
that exactly. That's a burden to your fulfillment. So society would tell us. No, that's what, with families in the foster system, with kids aging out of the foster system, really to continue promoting that dignity of every human life. And they can get in touch with me. My contact information is on the Archdiocesan website, which is just archgh.org/pro-life. My phone number's there. My email is there. And I would love to talk to anyone that would be interested in just finding out more information. How can we get involved?
archgh.org/pro-life. Actually, for those, I know we have some listeners, believe it or not, who don't have computers. I'm talking to you right now. So would you actually give your phone number out on the air? Just give it slowly a couple times.
Of course. So it is 713-741-8728. And again, 713-741-8728. 8728.
Julie Dumoulin, it's always a pleasure to have you here on the Catholic Lunch Break, and thank you very much for coming back.
Thank you, Tim.
We'll talk to you again. And I wanted to let you know, actually, that the Catholic Lunch Break is underwritten in part by Loving Choice Catholic Pregnancy Help Center. Guided by the Holy Spirit and the teachings of the Catholic Church, Loving Choice extends God's love in the form of emotional, educational, material, and spiritual support to parents and families as they embrace the challenges and even the blessings that can come from an unplanned pregnancy. Loving Choice is a place where any woman can go for help and information when she's facing this unexpected situation. She can take advantage of those free pregnancy tests, and as we heard earlier, they're free ultrasounds. And the volunteers at Loving Choice listen and provide compassionate options without judgment or pressure. You could be